last year we were hunting and Gozer picked up a bone. I don't know, is that a deer bone or something she had? And my red tail that I have right now came down and slammed her in the head and hooked her talon right into Gozer's eye. And I thought she had put Gozer's eye out. I mean, I was really distraught. And it turned out it was just right next to her eyeball somehow.
Hey, how's it going, everyone? Welcome back for another episode of the Falconry Told podcast. And I'm going to go ahead and start off by making a quick announcement. If you all haven't heard it yet, it looks like I will be heading over to the UK to attend the Valley Expo and the Game Fair, courtesy of Neil Davies and Simon Tyers, who were nice enough to sponsor my trip out there. And so it looks like our next international series will be coming to you all from the UK. Very, very excited about this and very thankful to Neil and Simon for doing this. It's a very nice gesture. That being said, if you haven't checked it out yet, as you've heard advertised here previously, I highly recommend you head to pursuitfalconry.co.uk and subscribe to that magazine. Neil does a great job putting out great new falconry content every couple of months, ranging from advertisements of new falconry equipment, artwork, and articles from lots of great falconers from around the world. So it's definitely worth checking out if you haven't already. I highly recommend you pick it up. And as you also may have previously heard mentioned, whenever you listen to the episode that I recorded with Simon Tyers, his book, The Specialist Falcon, is also available on the specialistfalcon.com website. Autographed copies are available from there as well. So if you haven't heard much about the book yet or haven't gotten a chance to pick up your copy, head to thespecialistfalcon.com and pick up this really well-written book by Simon Tyers, Personal Approach to Lowland Game Hawking. It's very well done, and it's a very informative book, and if you want to learn more about Simon himself, by all means, go back and check out our episode if you haven't listened to it yet. There's a lot of great content in it, and Simon goes pretty in-depth with a lot of his history and a lot of different aspects of falconry in the UK, so it's definitely worth a listen if you haven't yet. All right, and that brings us to this episode, which was recorded at the very last day of my falconry season. I decided to go down and join Jeff Fincher and David Hudson for some squirrel hunting to end my season, and this was recorded kind of middle of March, if I remember correctly, so this was recorded after I had done the Mexico series. And so I wanted to get a little bit of history recorded about David, since he was Jeff's apprentice, and Jeff wanted the same thing done as well. So we decided to do some hawking and then get together and do this podcast episode. It's always fun hanging out with these two. We always have a lot of fun, and I hope that you all have fun listening to it as well. So without further ado, I give you all David Hudson and Jeff Fincher. Here we go. For everybody listening, made it down here to end my season officially down here in Tennessee with David Hudson and Jeff Fincher, and figured I might as well just go ahead and bring the audio equipment and make the most of it. Kill as many birds with one stone, pun intended, or I guess in this case squirrels with one stone, one bird, whatever, however you want to consider it, I guess. But anyway, yeah, we're just we're hanging out post dinner, and yeah, so I guess we should go ahead and just start by talking about, today's hunt and some special milestones that you all got after today's hunt, and just go from there. So first of all, I have to mention, I think the official step count for me today, which is probably close to all of us, I guess, 22,548 steps. And that's nuts that this is kind of like a typical day for you all.
Oh yeah, I mean it's a pretty standard day. What you saw today, it's what we do just about every day of the season. And I probably wouldn't do as much if I didn't have David here and I was trying to show off and and prove that I'm that I can still hang. So yeah, but it's pretty normal, man. We were on squirrels all day too.
All day,
man, tons of squirrels. Yeah. And we got So me and David are flying 2 red-tailed hawks this year, and we got kill number 200 with one of them today. So that was what we were shooting for. And bringing the other one up to 150 soon, I hope, and then we're going to call it a season. But yeah, I was glad you could be here for number 200, man.
Well, technically it was 202.
Yeah, well, yeah, we ended up getting 202. Yeah, we started off the morning. We were like, let's get 200. And
Well, I guess if you really wanted to not be as hardcore about it, like, which I know is impossible for you guys, you could just give your extra 2 to David, and that would make your even.
Right.
Yeah, that would make your even 350 or whatever.
Yeah, put us closer. I mean, it's a team effort. It's a team count.
Team score.
Yeah, there's a team score, and and there are there's a few dirty kills in there, man. There's a few that the dogs like. Pretty, it was a team effort.
That's the thing, man. The dog's part of the team, so you might as well go ahead and just count that, because I mean, you got to give the dog some credit. Why else have it, right?
That's right. That's right. And it's just as fun to watch the dogs. And there may be a few that we pulled out by hand somewhere.
Greenbrier's part of the team.
Yeah. Greenbrier's part of the team. So, but you hunt all season, you're gonna have a few like that, especially with 2 dogs out on the ground. But I'd say probably 10, 12 kind of dirty kills.
Yeah.
Yeah, but most of them are good clean hunts with the hawk. So
Nice.
yeah.
Well, and you said that you've never taken 200 head of game in a season, and David, you've never taken 150.
150.
Yeah,
right.
with I mean, that's some numbers, boys. That's I can understand. Getting out as much as you do all day, every day. I mean, I've experienced it a couple of different times now. Once, whenever I came down for your kind of like squirrel mini meet that you had a couple years ago, and now today, I mean, we literally walked almost all day with maybe a couple hour break in there for lunch or whatever.
Right.
And I mean, we were out at about 9 o'clock, a little after 9 o'clock, and hung it up at dark, which is right before 7.
Yeah.
With just a couple hour break in. If that's a typical day, every day, pretty much during the season for y'all, I that's a lot of hawking.
Yeah. I mean, today was a little bit longer of a day, but we usually get in at least a good solid 4 hours.
Yeah, usually
probably.
all afternoon.
Yeah.
That's what we do.
Yeah, it'd be usually a good solid 4 hour day, give or take an hour here or there, just depending. But yeah, it was a good season, man. I've never taken a single red tail to 200, basically squirrels. I mean, I think about like 6 rabbits. We call it one a day, which is kind of a special event around here.
Yeah.
I think I've got like 6 this season. But I've never taken a red tail to 200 squirrels. Usually, you run into some kind of injury or something like that. You have something you got to put them away for a couple weeks and nurse something back to health. And man, we just had a really good year, just avoiding injuries and tons of squirrels this year, just more than I've ever seen. So yeah, it was a good run. It was a good year to do it. We're going to push for that many.
Well, you mentioned something about just the squirrel numbers being just so high this year for whatever reason. I mean, what do you think? I mean, do you think it was kind of like the food supply being higher for them? Or, I mean, what's kind of your theory on that?
Yeah, I mean, it's the only thing I can see. I mean, it was a crazy mass crop this year. So, I mean, I think that's definitely the primary driving force on that.
Yeah, we were noticing that even before the season started.
Yeah.
Just how many acorns there were on the ground everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I guess that goes for almost any type of prey base. More food abundance and the more habitat and more food abundance, the more numbers I guess you're going to have.
Yeah, it makes sense.
And the fact that squirrels don't have the hemorrhagic viruses and stuff like that seem to be quite as prevalent and for them, that kind of pull their numbers down here and there too.
I know, yeah. I feel kind of bad like looking at everybody else's seasons are terrible. It's like, rabbit numbers are down, and I'm just like, oh, look at these 8 squirrels we killed today.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's kind of the other risk reward thing that you have when you hunt something that not quite as many people. I mean, I know there's still a fair number of squirrel hawkers in the country, but yeah, I mean, even when I was down in Mexico recently, I mean, they were saying all the same thing down there too. I mean, their rabbit numbers and stuff were way down there also. They're like, yeah, I mean, all the walking we did down there, they're like, yeah, I mean, normally you'd see 20 to 30 jackrabbits in the area that we've walked or whatever, and we saw like 4 or 5, so it's the same kind of deal. But, well, I mean, that's pretty killer, though. I mean, that's not that's not a meager accomplishment, and that takes a lot of dedication and, quite frankly, a lot of time resource that not a lot of people are fortunate to have. So kudos to you all for pulling that off. Yeah, I mean that's pretty killer.
Yeah, and I mean that's really what it is. It's just having the time to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're well aware we have more time to hunt than most people do.
Yeah. Well, and you guys, I mean, we've already kind of discussed what you do in previous podcasts, Jeff, but what do you do, David, that kind of allows you to have such freedom with your hawking? Like, what do you do during the week?
I'm kind of like Jeff. I've got a lot of part-time things going on. Mm-hmm. We have some rental properties. I'm a high school cross-country coach. So I do that in the summer and the fall, and then it gives me all winter to hunt, basically.
Cool.
I'm a beekeeper, so I sell honey, which none of that's going on in the winter, obviously.
Cool. Yeah, no, that's more falconry, more falconer odd job stuff.
Yeah, man. Yeah. No, it's diversify. Yeah. It's just,
Yeah. No, and like I said, you're still doing the abatement stuff and all that kind of side stuff too, Jeff.
Right. Yeah, I work for the abatement company too.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there's that. Yeah. I mean, this. I mean, I'm always envious of guys like you that, just kind of do your own thing, manage to make it work, and you have all this other time to dedicate to, to stuff.
AKA neglect.
Yeah.
Yeah, April is really hard on us every year. Yeah. April is terrible.
David's children don't recognize them.
Yeah, well, what's life without at least a little bit of marital strife and and just, I mean, who enjoys having their families like them all the time? There's no fun in that, right?
Right.
You gotta be hated a little bit, I guess. No, that's great though, guys. Like I said, congratulations, and I think you guys are nuts for continuing. I mean, I would go ahead and just call it good, but I guess that's what separates the people that I don't know. Like some people are content with a handful of kills a season. Some people just can't stop, won't stop.
Yeah, well, David's also got a 1-year-old dog, and if he stops, that dog is probably going to destroy his house.
Yeah,
so.
He needs to run 4 hours every day.
Yeah, that's
still barely enough.
Yeah. Well, yours is a decker too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I've got other friends with deckers and yachts, and no, thank you. No, I mean, I've got Vigilas and now a Dachshund too, and I'm kind of gonna end up running into the same issue too.
Yeah, it changes the way you hunt. I mean, for sure.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, and we were talking about just that. We're talking about just that very thing at dinner a little while ago, and I don't know if you would agree or not, David, but like that's the thing is, I know me personally, it's always challenging finding time to get your dogs going and keep them going, and part of that, is kind of a little bit of a self-pressure kind of thing, because you don't want to feel like you're wasting a dog's potential, and you don't want to feel like you're kind of neglecting just that extra little element that you can have with pairing a dog with a hawk. But like we were talking, you got to find a hawk that's going to tolerate the dog too,
right? And
I mean, that's always kind of a trick. But I mean, the prior birds that you've had, I mean, is this your first? You said your dog's 1, though, right? Mm-hmm. So I mean, this is your first year that you've really had to worry about finding or trapping or getting a hawk going that's compatible with a dog.
Not really, because I've always hunted with Jeff's dog.
With Gozer.
Yeah. And so our rule has always been if a bird is not tolerable with a dog, it's out of here.
Yeah.
That's how important it is to us to have a dog out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, I just after seeing how a few good teams work, I totally get it. But as we all know, it's a lot easier said than done sometimes. Yeah. I mean, because
we've never had much trouble with the wild red tails, though.
No, we really haven't. Like almost every one of them's pretty much worked out. Yeah. I don't know if we just, it's just because we're just doing it every day and forcing it on them. But, also, like David would, when he traps a bird and is training it, we usually pass it around while we're training it. So he'll send it over to my house. Mm-hmm. Also, David lives like 2 miles from me, so it's easy. So that the bird is seeing my dog a lot while we're training it. And it does, so that way David doesn't just show up in the woods with a bird that's never seen a dog.
Right.
So we do a little bit of work like that to kind of, try to acclimate them to the dog. So.
Yeah. And I have an old mountain cur also, and so even before I had the decker, I would have the birds around that dog from day one.
Yeah, I mean I've heard from multiple people that's the way they do it. Also, you just expose them, get them used to it, and either they tolerate it or not. The bummer though, I feel bad for some people though, and I can kind of relate because this happened to me once also, where you get a bird and it acts like it's going to tolerate it and acts like it's going to work well, and then all of a sudden one day just decides to go after after the dog or whatever, and then you spend all this time, like a good almost better part of a month that you've spent trying to get a bird going, that then you have to turn around and let go and start over. Yeah. And you've already burned a month of the season trying to get something going that you thought was going to work, but now you find out, isn't going to now.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I guess we've been lucky. I mean, it just hasn't happened with us.
And I mean, I've had birds hit my dog, early on, not finding any slips or something, getting close to dark. And
they get impatient then.
Yeah. A fairly new bird or something, hit the dog and bind to it and not, just completely intentional, like it wants to kill it. Mm-hmm. But man, honestly, like I pull those birds off the dogs and and it definitely gets no food,
no reward of any kind.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Like it gets tossed across the leaves on the forest floor, and then like we walk away. Yeah, and usually like that's it. Mm-hmm. Like they don't do it again.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Luckily, even for as kind of single-minded as they are and as smart as they are with that kind of stuff, they can learn pretty quick what's not going to fly and what's not. They understand that this isn't food and I'm not going to get rewarded for it.
Right.
But yeah, well, I mean, I guess I'm out of curiosity, since I haven't really been around you a whole lot, David. Like, how did you meet him? How did you meet Jeff, and how did you get sponsored and all that kind of stuff?
I think it was 7 years ago. He was in the local paper, back when they were newspapers, looking for land for the meet that he was hosting, the squirrel meet here. Mm-hmm. And so there was an article about him, and I'd always been interested in falconry, but didn't really know, didn't know anybody. That was, I didn't have to look on Facebook for a group or anything, and my kids were young, and so I was just distracted by other things anyway. And so I found him on Facebook and messaged him, and he just lives a few minutes away from me, and asked if I could hunt with him, and he said sure. And so we started hunting together that winter, and he agreed to take me on as an apprentice, and the rest is history. I mean, we hunt every day together for years now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's better than I am. So
no. Yeah, but I've learned so much from him. I mean, it's been really good to have him as a sponsor, and then to be right here.
Yeah,
I mean, he's known all over the country for this, and I get to hunt with him every day.
Yeah, don't.
Yeah, not all good.
Don't inflate the ego too much over there, man.
I'm known all right.
Yeah, he's known. I said he was known all over the country. Yeah.
Dave didn't say what I was known for, but yeah. Well, David showed up and just kept showing up, man. That's what it takes.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, no, it is what it takes. You're not. It doesn't work like the other way around. You don't call somebody that wants to be. They got to keep calling you.
Yeah,
show the dedication.
Yeah, we laugh about that all the time. People want to come with us, and we say, just come on. We go every day, and then they want us to schedule it with them, or you never hear from them.
Yeah, it's like you tell them once, this isn't how it works. This is how it works.
Yeah,
right.
And they either follow through or they don't. And and if they don't, then that usually is the end of it.
Yeah,
a lot of times. But well, did you know anything about falconry, or did you discover it at all, or did you just stumble into it that way by seeing his mug in the newspaper?
I mean, I knew a little bit about it, but Yeah, that was just the thing that really got me going. Knowing that someone was here close by, you know.
Yeah, you got lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
know.
mean,
I know.
Yeah, I was fortunate enough to have a sponsor that lived about 10 minutes away from me also.
Yeah.
And I feel for a lot of people. Well, like Jeff, for example, that had to do the paper deal or start off that way and not have that really close by guidance. It's just I don't that'd make things way too difficult.
Yeah.
I mean, in my mind, but you know, I mean, that's a fast track to failure in a lot of ways. And, you know, kudos to all the people out there that have had to make it work the other way, you know, or that way. Because, I mean, I'm hats off to you because that would be tough.
Yeah. I think I was just lucky, too, because I already just grew up hunting, and I was in the woods every day doing something anyway. It came pretty natural. And I didn't have anybody telling me I was doing it wrong. So, yeah. But it's one thing I like about, we went down to Alabama meet this year, and it's funny for me to go back there because that's where I'm from. And, you know, and the meet is held I actually went to high school in that town for a few years. And, you know, it's just when I did it, there was nobody. There were no Falconers anywhere. And now there's a meet being held, like, right where I grew up, you know, and Alabama's got a ton of Falconers. So it's kind of weird when I go down there to that meet. But it's fun to go back and see that in that area now.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, just the numbers in general of how, I mean, just the last few years especially, just kind of how it's, I won't say blown up, but just increased in popularity as much as it has. It's
Definitely.
It's kind of interesting. Talked about that before with a few different people, but yeah. So, did you always? I mean, like, whenever you got into this, David, like, did you pretty much know from the get-go that the whole, you know, if you're primarily going out with him and, you know, we're sponsored by, you know, Jeff, you're pretty much going out with him consistently, and you got kind of indoctrinated to the whole squirrel hawking deal from the get-go. Is that what you knew you pretty much wanted to do? Did you have a kind of any inkling or desire to do anything different? Or were you pretty much just red tails and Harris hawks with squirrels from the get-go? Or
Well, red tails. You know, he's not going to recommend a Harris hawk for squirrels.
I won't ever recommend one. I may tolerate one, but I'm not going to recommend it.
So, yeah, I think I was brainwashed from the beginning. You know, red tails on squirrels.
Yeah.
And I agree. I mean, I haven't done a lot of different kinds of falconry, but I still like squirrel hawking the best.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, you're pretty much just going to stick with that, you think, forever?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, we hunt with.
I train them right, man.
Yeah. You know, we hunt starlings with kestrels sometimes, and that's fun. But yeah, squirrel hawking with red tails still my favorite.
Yeah.
I mean, we'd be silly not to. I mean, it's what we got. We got so much of it. And,
we got over 1,000 acres to hunt around here, and you know, squirrels everywhere. We got the dogs for it. So yeah, there's no reason to change now.
Well, and by the sound of it, it sounds like you guys aren't really, for the most part, going to have to worry about losing any of those spots either. Like, at least not to development or things like that you have to worry about with rabbits, for example. And yeah, I can't even tell you how many rabbit spots we've lost over the last handful of years. So,
Well, we actually lost a lot this past year.
Really?
To logging and development, yeah. Yeah, this is...
I stand corrected then.
Well, it's just such a hot real estate market, and we're close enough to Nashville that people are getting crazy prices for their land, and so I don't blame them for selling it sometimes, you know.
Yeah.
And so we lost quite a few places this past year, but we picked up some good ones too.
Yeah.
Yeah, David did a really good job contacting a bunch of landowners this year. I mean, I think it's okay because, like, we've been hunting most of the properties that I found for a long time, and then this year David hand wrote letters to like a bunch of property owners, and I did not think it was going to work that well, honestly, because, like, who's going to read a letter and then, like, call you? You know, it's so easy for him just to, like, throw it in the trash, you know. But yeah, he just sent out like 10 at a time. You probably got at least half the people were getting back with you.
Yeah, I just did 10 at first. I was going to do them in waves of 10, but we got permission from 4 of those out of that first 10, and it totaled 400 acres or something.
Yeah, I mean, it's like 400 or 500 acres you got from that.
Yeah, so I never even sent out anymore.
Yeah, because we can't
even hunt all we have right now anyway.
Right.
Yeah. So you were literally just writing actual snail mail letters.
Yep.
Were you actually like mailing them, or were you just going by and putting them in people's mailbox?
I mailed them, hand addressed them, so it didn't look like, a
Junk.
computer printed it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I had my White Bluff return address on there, so they knew it was someone local. And I got the Onyx app, and
So
best $30 I ever spent, because we got, we can find all kinds of properties, and it's got their name and address on there. And so I just looked. A lot of them I looked for close to other properties we had, and so I would mention that person's name in the letter. Like, we have permission on so-and-so's property just down the road from you or next to you. And
it's a good little trick. It validates you.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, because if there's any doubt or whatever, they just go down
they
the
can
street
call.
and just
Exactly.
They
be
probably
like,
know that person anyway, and so I think that helped. And that was it. I mean, we got permission on four, and then one lady said to call her back next year.
That's right. She had it leased out for deer
she's got
hunters
it
or something.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so we might get that one next year. So it could be half.
And
half
that was,
of
that's a heck of a return, 50% on like
way
land access.
way better than I thought it would be.
Way better than I thought it would be.
I don't think very many people are. Yeah, I mean, it's especially with a lot of urban hawking. There's a lot of these industrial areas and things like that where you just walk into a business and you can ask, hey, do you mind if I hunt this lot behind your warehouse or whatever the case is? But that's something that I don't think quite as many people nowadays are probably gonna be. I would have. I mean, you look and you go up and knock on somebody's door and ask sometimes.
Right.
But with the way things are nowadays, sometimes you're almost kind of afraid to do that. So I mean, the whole snail mail thing was a pretty good idea. That's kind of
I thought it gave them an opportunity to not without feeling uncomfortable, like if we went up to the house.
Yeah. Well,
give them a little time to think about it, and I just told them in the letter we don't use any guns. We'd be happy to wait till after deer season's over.
It's a good idea.
They're welcome to go with us anytime they want. And we do have one guy that pretty much every time we're there, he comes out in his yard and watches. And we always show the birds to their grandchildren. Another place, we've shown it to their grandchildren multiple times. They love seeing the birds.
Yeah, you got to do the PR thing.
Yeah, exactly. It greases the wheels a little bit.
Yeah.
And what was awesome about it was a lot of his property that we got was stuff that we could access during deer season, which is that's high commodity
really
around here.
Yeah.
Like that's a gold, a gold mine when you find something that you can hunt during deer season.
Yeah.
And one of those properties is 200 and something acres, and the guy lets no one deer hunt on it, and we can hawk it. So that was a real find.
Yeah.
It helped us a lot.
No road frontage, so it's safe for the dogs. It was a really, really good pickup.
So use that Onyx app and write some letters.
Well, yeah. I mean, I guess the worst case scenario, you're out a couple bucks in stamps, and
it was
and about an hour or so of your time just to write the letters.
Yeah, it didn't take me any time. Yeah,
man, that's cool.
That's about half the time I spend saying dumb stuff on Facebook. So yeah,
he could have been writing letters this whole time.
I could have been writing letters this whole time, man.
Yeah, I mean, and it's kind of funny. I'm almost laughing at myself a little bit here because I'm thinking like, well, that's pretty ingenuitive, but in the grand scheme of things, it's really not. I mean, it's just basic.
It's so simple.
That's how the basic communication used to work once upon a time. Yeah, just writing a letter.
Yeah,
that's why I thought people would be intrigued, because they don't get stuff like that. And
yeah. They're the only thing they're used to getting in the mail and pretty much anymore is just solicitations, junk mail, and bills.
Yeah.
Nothing.
This is the kind of thinking. I need it, the team. So this is why he has time all winter to hawk, because he's figured out he's used the same kind of thinking on his on his career choices too.
Well, I mean, he works the abatement stuff with you, so he's not all of sound mind.
Yeah,
well, that's true. Yeah, that's true. That's a fair point.
Well, I mean, today's hunt, there was definitely some aberrations, like the whole turkey deal with my goofy Harris hawk, and deciding that she wanted to try and tag a turkey twice and couldn't quite get there quite quick enough to seal that deal, which I'm kind of honestly thankful for. It's better than having to take a beat up hawk to the vet,
Yeah.
But as far as just different odds and ends type of stuff, I guess we can go ahead and launch into. I mean, we've already kind of had some stories from you, Jeff, in previous podcasts. But what are some of your more notable, kind of cool things that have happened on some of your hunts, David, that you remember? I mean, I know you guys, hunt together a lot, and you're probably going to share some similar ones. But surely there's some ones that you've probably thought of or can think of that he's either not thinking of or forgot about.
One that stands out to me that's not very good is last year we were hunting and Gozer picked up a bone. I don't know, what is that, a deer bone or something?
Yeah, it's like a deer carcass or something.
And my red tail that I have right now came down and slammed her in the head and hooked her talon right into Gozer's eye. And I thought she had put Gozer's eye out. I mean, I was really distraught. And it turned out it was just right next to her eyeball somehow.
Yeah, right in the eye.
Didn't puncture the eyeball, just went right in there next to it.
Dave was just concerned that his bird had, damaged my precious angel of a dog.
Yeah, she was the most important part of the team.
That's why it stands out to him.
Yeah,
he's like, oh God,
I was really concerned.
Yeah, that you so aptly named after an apocalyptic demigod,
like warlord or something. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Apocalyptic demigod in Ghostbusters or whatever. Yeah, I mean,
it was before I had my dog, and so Gozer's like my niece or something, and I was really concerned.
Well, we had an interesting one this year too. We his bird wasn't following. We didn't know what it was doing. We went back to look for it, and it had caught like a little turtle.
It was
like the most random thing too. No one's caught 2 little turtles this year. My bird did the same thing. I mean, it's the first time I've ever caught a small turtle like that.
Yeah.
So
small box turtle type thing.
You're the turtle, I guess. Yeah. Yeah, his was a box turtle. Mine wasn't. Mine was just some other kind of turtle. So
Interesting.
Yeah, it looked like an eastern slaughter or something, like something in the water.
Yeah.
It was just in the woods.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, as far as just different, like, how many different red tails have you flown now?
Oh, man.
Yeah, that's a good question. You've been doing it 7 years. You've probably flown 10.
I don't think it's that many. I don't know, 5 or 6 maybe.
Yeah.
Probably 5 or 6.
Yeah.
5 or 6, and then the Harrises.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which, I mean, is the bird that you have now more of your standout bird because you achieved a milestone, or do you think that you've flown better birds and you just achieved the milestone just because of just the sheer number of squirrels you've had this year?
I think it's just number of squirrels.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's nothing special. I mean, she was fine last year and was fine this year up until about a month ago.
Mm-hmm.
She started slowing down, and I don't think there's anything special about her.
Yeah.
I've had others that I've liked more.
Yeah. Well, what's your favorite?
Cold-hearted right there, man. Cold-hearted right there, man. She ain't nothing special. Just a lot of squirrels.
That's right.
Well, it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, he's right.
Well, how many times have we had the conversation, though, that the truly special birds are such a minority? I mean, there's such a high percentage that you're just going to get an okay.
Yeah.
Even hunting as much as you guys do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, think of how much you guys hunt and how many birds have you gotten that you can say were truly exceptional.
Right.
I think one since I started hunting with him, and that's all of ours combined. I mean, we've had a lot of good ones, but Marigold is the outstanding one, I think.
Yeah, probably so.
I mean, one he had that he kept for a long time. She was really good.
Was that the one that was missing the toe?
Yeah.
That you released like a year or two ago?
Yeah. Sorry, we released her
It was a good bird.
Last year, like in early December or something like that. I released her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when the bird I've got right now proved that it was gonna do the job.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, and I mean, aside from the fact that she was just, spot on most of the time, what other qualities did she have that you guys both thought that she had that separated her from some of the other birds that you guys have flown in?
I don't know if she was just more aggressive. It just seemed like she always got the job done somehow.
Yeah,
I mean,
she was very effective.
Looking for squirrels, yeah. She was easy to handle.
Was easy to handle.
Yeah.
Good with the dog.
Yeah, good with the dog. There's really no problem with her until she got older and she got really independent. She was always independent.
Yeah.
But got worse in her last years.
Yeah, I mean, it was just like, you couldn't get her back until she killed something. I mean, she just got so...
Yeah, we had to end on a kill.
You just about had to end on a kill. Yeah, or she's the bird that made me stop using lures. Like, I didn't use a lure with her. She would ignore it. Because I don't use a lure enough to really reinforce it that well. So, like, my new lure is just a squirrel. Like, I'll just throw a dead squirrel and game call, and like that's my lure. So like at the end of the day, if we did not end on a kill, like that's what I had to do. Just like pull a squirrel out and toss it.
Yeah, we never go out without a squirrel already in the vest.
Yeah, that was my lure. I'd get one out of the freezer at the beginning of the day and take it with me.
Yeah, we have to do that occasionally with a bunny. We call it Frosty.
Yeah,
Frosty the lure.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
she was a good bird, but she definitely expected to kill something. This bird I've got right now is
she's getting into that.
She's a really
she's
good
getting to
bird
that level
too. And we've had 3 hunts with her this whole season that she did not kill some, and that's incredible for as much as we go. But that's also, I'm be kind of cold like David, not give her much credit. It's really because like we've had so many squirrels this year too. So it's kind of like if you don't kill one, then there's kind of something wrong with you.
Well, and I noticed that both of your birds are adult birds. I mean, this is what your second or third
second
season?
year for both of them.
Second year for both of them.
They were both juvies last year.
Well, that makes a big difference too.
Yeah.
I mean, like having a seasoned bird that already knows what it's doing, and
I think like with us though, we fly them so much, they seem to peak. I mean, they seem to get where they're going to get pretty quickly their juvie year. Just because, I mean, we, like you talked about earlier, we have the ability to hunt every day, which most people don't. So, like, the volume of game that our birds see in their first year is probably equivalent to what it takes a lot of people the second or third year to see. And maybe that's why they see their birds peaking in the second or third year. And our birds kind of like, they seem to peak that first year and just kind of plateau and just kind of stay there.
Yeah,
we feel like the only advantage with the hags is we have them ready to go right at the beginning of the season. So we don't have to wait and
you don't
trap and train a new one.
As
soon as the leaves are starting to come off, we're ready.
You don't have that learning curve again. You're just ready to go.
Yeah, and I've noticed that that's one thing that I've each passing year I understand why guys, if they have a decent bird, why so many people interview birds, because they don't want to go through the headache of, and it makes total sense. I don't know why I didn't think of it before. I mean, it's pretty obvious. I mean, like once you have a decent bird, why people try and keep them for as many years as possible, so they don't have to go through that headache of teaching a new bird, and then like we were talking about before, taking the chance that the next bird that you get may not be as good or even suitable for falconry. Period.
Right.
Or tolerate the dogs.
Yeah. I mean, have everything that you want. And the more different aspects that you kind of enter into what you want out of a hunting, falconry bird, the even less of a chance you're going to get one that's a suitable candidate for what you want to do.
Right. But, I mean, that's the thing we go through a lot. I mean, we're both, we're in a situation where we always want to have 2 good birds, and something can happen to one at any time. So we've always got 3 birds. Because you've got that like next bird coming up and you're looking for that replacement bird. And so it's always kind of stressful. It's like if you only have 2 birds at the beginning of the season, because like one of them something could happen to one of them at any time. And then we've only got 1 bird to hunt with.
We start feeling the pressure if we only have 2.
Yeah. So we're like, we need to trap another one and get it going, and just and whatnot. And like these squirrel birds, I mean, as hard as we fly them, like there's an expiration date on them.
Sure.
I don't want to have a bird that's, 7 years old and has, lost function of 3 toes and it's just mangled, and like the amount of squirrels we catch, like that's going to happen eventually.
Yeah.
Like,
you guys catch a lot of fox squirrels, not just grays. There's a lot of bigger fox squirrels that you catch.
You know what? We don't catch a lot of those. We really don't. Most of what we see is...
Doesn't take many, though.
No, it doesn't. You're right. It only takes one. But most of what we catch is grays. But, because we do catch some fox squirrels. But just the sheer volume, I mean, you know, we're always gunning for at least 100 with each bird.
Well, that was the next joke I was going to make. It's like, because God forbid you guys not get triple digits, ahead, in your freezer.
Season.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. I mean, God forbid you only get a meager 50 or 75 or something.
Oh, man.
That's unacceptable.
God, don't even say it. Don't even mention that out loud.
50 a month is what we're going for.
Yeah.
And yeah, but I mean, when you're doing that, and obviously like bites happen. And eventually you're going to get a bite that requires some kind of, downtime or medical attention or just the loss of a toe, So.
And yes, for everyone listening, we realize that the safety and the health overall of your birds is the most important thing.
I've messed up now. He's going to get all kinds of hate over this.
No, I mean... It is what I mean. That's what you're supposed to do, though. That's falconry, though. Is hunting your bird as much as possible, and the reality is, for as much as you guys hunt, the byproduct is going to be, unless you just have a terrible bird that is just not suited for falconry very well, the byproduct of how much you guys hunt is going to be a high amount of game in your freezer. And
right.
I mean, more often than not. I mean, if you guys hunt 4 hours a day, almost every day for 4 or 5, almost 6 months, or however long you guys hunt, you're gonna catch a lot of game.
Yeah,
I mean, usually. Yeah. If you're not, then that's weird. Like,
right? Yeah.
There's something.
You're hunting the wrong game, or you're not hunting right, or something.
Yeah. Something's not right in the equation with that.
Yeah, but I mean, I've never released a bird that, was incapable. I've never had a bird electrocuted. I've never had a bird killed by a golden eagle or a bald eagle. I've never had a bird killed by an owl. I mean, all types of falconry have their risk. Mm-hmm. And, if, an injured toe is pretty low, it's better than a dead bird.
Sure.
So, and so, and I've never released one that couldn't, hadn't proven that it could still catch squirrels and, in the wild and easily handle all the mice and everything, no problem. So they don't have to catch squirrels every day in the wild.
Sure. Most of them don't.
No,
most of them don't catch rabbits either.
Yeah.
Most of them, like you said, are mousers or
snakes in the summer, man.
Snakes,
oh my god,
voles.
We're about to probably start having to quit just because of that. I mean, like you can't go in the woods without killing a snake. But yeah, anyway.
Yeah. Well, going back real quick, just to finish what we were talking about a little bit earlier. I mean, you talked about, your one bird being so efficient and everything. Like the birds that you've flown personally, though, David, because I know that was technically Jeff's bird that he flew.
Right.
Like out of the ones that you've flown, though, what's been the most that's stood out in your mind is your favorite as far as your just overall qualities go?
Probably Joan Jett. I think Joan Jett. I think she was probably the best. I mean, I had a couple hundred kills with her, and she was fine both years I had her. No problem. No problem handling her. She didn't really slow down that bad.
Yeah, she was definitely, I think, probably one of your best ones. I actually liked your first bird, the male that you flew.
Yeah, he was good.
Yeah,
for a male.
Good.
He was fun.
Yeah, he was a fun bird to fly.
Yeah.
Was there a particular reason why you released, the other bird that you like? You just wanted a different bird after a couple seasons, or?
Yeah, in general, that's what we usually do is just 2 years, unless it's something special like Marigold or the one he has right now. I think he's going to keep, but unless they're really exceptional, we just go 2 years usually. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, so what's you brought up a kind of a not so great story. I mean, what's another good story that you have, like as far as like the end result was
a happy story,
a happy ending.
The happy was that her eyeball is still intact. It was a happy ending.
Yeah, it was a happy story. You don't want to go to the dark place, man.
Yeah.
He's a serious guy, man.
Yeah. I don't know. As far as a specific story, I've really enjoyed seeing my dog get going this year, and it's been a good year to start a new dog. I mean, he's probably seen between 1,000 and 1,500 squirrels this year.
Yeah,
I mean,
definitely. Yeah.
If we catch 350, he may have seen 1,500
Oh, yeah.
squirrels.
I mean, he's probably seen, between 1,500 and 2,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's been really good to watch him. We had a lot of trouble with him at first because he would just run off so far, just
Didn't know what he was.
didn't know what he's doing. And Hannah Dahl recommended an e-collar, and so I got that, and we could keep him a little bit closer. And that helped because he figured out what was going on.
Hi, Hannah.
Hey,
Hey, what's
Hannah,
up,
thank
Hannah?
you.
Yep.
And so just seeing him figure it out and start barking when he's treed and chasing squirrels with Gozer. I mean, I love seeing that. When a squirrel hits the ground, Gozer's so fast and she'll turn it and Boone will grab it sometimes. And I love that.
Yeah. David loves the dogs. He's really a dog. He could just be a houndsman or something.
Yeah.
Be totally happy with that.
I like watching the dogs.
There's a lot of Falconers that are like that.
Yeah.
We know a lot of them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we do.
We're friends with a lot of them.
Yeah.
That would, in a heartbeat, choose dogs over birds if they had to make a choice.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be mad about it myself, really. I mean, it's a lot of fun to watch the dogs work. And, and I'm relieved his dogs come along really well. So that should turn into a really good little dog.
Yeah, it's good. They're pretty complimentary in their strengths, and so it's just they're a good team now.
Yeah, he's a good squirrel dog. Gozer goes in holes and brush piles looking for rabbits, and Boone is starting to really use his nose and actually tree squirrels and stuff. So yeah, they're a good little team, and they don't fight, so that's good.
Yeah,
because my dog's kind of a she's kind of mean.
Yeah, they get along really well.
Yeah. But how old did you start getting? I mean, did you get your dog out pretty much from the get go?
Yeah, we took him out last year a little bit, a few times.
He was like 4 or 5 months old.
Yeah,
taking him out.
Yeah, he was pretty timid and tentative. He would barely even go in the woods with us. Really, he was just scared to be in the woods. And I mean, we'd encourage him to come on into the woods, but he didn't want to do much. Mm-hmm. But I took him. I worked with him in the off season. I would tie a squirrel to some paracord, throw it over a branch in the tree, and run it up and down the tree, and game call so he would learn to look up. And man, we started this year, and he was gung ho.
He wasn't scared to be in the woods anymore. That's for sure.
No,
but
we
he
couldn't
be
even
anywhere
control
around
him.
us. Yeah,
yeah, we couldn't even rein him in.
Yeah, so you felt like he retained a lot from the off season into.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, he was a totally different dog.
Yeah, because we could game call, and he would, he'd look up, and it was good.
Cool. Yeah, no, it's always interesting hearing was like some people don't usually some people don't start their dogs until a little later. Some people start them right off the bat. It seems like most often the people that I've talked to with different theories and different methods or whatever, they still get to the same point eventually.
Right.
It's just a matter of how they decide to do it.
Yep.
But it's kind of weird. Sometimes dog people can have just as many varying theories and opinions as falconers.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, probably more. Yeah. But all the roads still lead to the same. Yeah.
And anybody else is not doing it their way is doing it wrong, kind of thing.
Right.
We just figured if we have him out in the woods every day, he's gonna learn. He's gonna figure it out.
Yeah.
And he has.
I mean, that's really as simple as how we do the birds too. I mean, I don't think either one of us are great bird trainers or have any great insight into it. It's just we just go do the same. We just go do it every day, and the chips fall into place.
Yeah.
So I mean, these birds, they baffle me all the time. I don't know where to tell myself to raise and lower my bird's weight, or tell David to raise his bird's weight or lower. I don't know, man. They're just wild animals, and sometimes I just think, man, we just fly them hard every day, and sometimes I just think they're just sick of it.
Well,
it's like not behaving today because we've been flying it for 20 days straight, and it's just sick of our stuff.
This cracks me up because whenever we were talking on the phone the other night, that was the first thing I said. I was just like, dude, you caught almost 200 squirrels. She's probably just tired of it now.
Yeah.
She's probably just ready for a break,
Right. Right. Yeah.
I think we're seeing that with mine right now.
Yeah. And the spring coming on,
fever.
we're seeing that change. That's
the hormones, man.
Dude, it's a very real thing, and I don't know what all starts going on with them and affecting it, but It's definitely a very real thing because we go through it every year.
Well, yeah, I mean, you guys have mature birds now, and they're thinking about breeding and
right,
and that other stuff.
Man, those hormones, and it like changes their metabolism. It just changes their drive. It changes their attention span. Like it just everything, man. It's just like a lot of stuff is changing there, and I don't know what all it is, but I don't like it. It's time to quit. It's time to just because you keep cutting weight to a point that when you get them to a weight where you can tell it's just
performance
starts to wane.
Yeah,
and you're like now it's like to a point that I'm just having to cut them so low to try to keep them motivated, and it's just counterproductive.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting now.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, just counterproductive.
I don't want to go any lower.
Yeah, no, it gets to that point where you're just like, okay, well, this is just, it's going to get counterintuitive real quick.
Yeah, and then they just start killing snakes.
Yeah.
Because it's like, and turtles.
Or mice.
And I'm like, whatever.
Yeah. You're just basically shooting yourself in the foot after a while, for sure. Well, I mean, is there any other thing that you guys can think of that's notable? We run into this every time we have this conversation.
I know.
And you're like, oh, I've got something or whatever, and then you get you on here and you drop the ball hardcore, man. You just blank.
I can't remember what all I told you, man. God, I can't remember if you were at that meet. Were you at the meet where that bird watcher showed up, Jonathan?
Me at the bird watcher.
I don't think you were. It was one of my earlier squirrel meets. And
Probably not.
This guy had contacted me, and
so I've only been to the one squirrel meet that you've had.
Yeah.
And I was going to come last year, but then, everything. We all know what's happened the last 2 years. We're not even going to say the evil C word.
Yeah.
But anyway, go ahead.
But, this guy contacted me, and he was like, I'd really like to come out and see some falconry, and I saw you were having this meet. It was one that was advertised in the paper, actually. Okay. That's how he found me. And he was a bird watcher. And I'm like, yeah, that's great. Like, come on out. Well, that year was a big year. We had a lot of people at that meet from all over the country. And this guy shows up, and we had all these people, and everybody brought their dogs. And this guy shows up in his binoculars, and he's like very put together, Mm-hmm. It's like it looks like something you would see maybe like in the in the UK, like if you're at a field meet, it's very like a formal kind of feel to him,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like he might go to church afterwards or something.
Yeah, I got you.
And anyway, he's shows up, and I'm like, yeah, like sure, just follow us over here or whatever. Well, it's a big crowd, and man, like it's everybody's just like curse words. This is like the most off-color language, and people telling terrible stories. And we get out there, and like everybody wants to run their dog, like happens at the meet, So we put this red tail up, and there's like 8 dogs of like all sizes and breeds, and they're just like going crazy. And we're all in there just beating trees with sticks, and it's just chaotic, man. It's like caveman. And this guy he had no clue it was going to get that red. I mean, you could tell he was like shocked by it, but he was also, I think he was kind of enjoying the spectacle a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think he was able to use his binoculars all day, so I think he was a little disappointed with that. Yeah, he hung with us all day though, man. He hung out all day, but I think he was expecting to come out and see some majestic falcon flying high into the clouds and swooping a lure or something, or something like that. But
didn't quite register the whole hunting part of
in the dirt hawking part. I think when people think of falconry in general, they think of like falcons,
right?
And like what they've seen portrayed like that, like that classic, falcon in a wide open space kind of thing. They don't think about like people chasing squirrels with sticks. And
or rabbits,
digging them out of
digging them out of holes and like whatever,
just walking aimlessly for miles, just hitting briars with sticks and
packs of dogs, So that was kind of funny. I've had a lot of funny tag-alongs. I don't remember if I told you about the. I'm pretty sure I didn't tell you this on. At least you didn't air it. But I had this guy contact me, man. He was, he's like, told me his wife was really interested in falconry. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like, this is where we're going. Like, meet us here. It's Dairy Queen, whatever. And so I pull in Dairy Queen, and this Land Rover pulls in next to me. And this guy gets out with these two young women. And it's cold out. We'd had some ice and some snow. But you know how it is. It's like this stuff was melting off. And if you're moving around, you're going to get warm real quick. Mm. Well, these guys show up, and they are in, like, full ski gear. I mean, like, straight out of, like, Breckenridge. Like, I mean, like, they're going skiing.
Just
like,
came from Aspen.
Like, they got the goggles, probably. I didn't see them, but they probably had them ready just in case. Uh-huh. Yeah, I mean, like, mittens, like, big mitts on their hands. Mm-hmm. And I was like, well, who's this guy's wife? Well, it turns out one of the young ladies was his wife. Uh-huh. And she's about the same age as his daughter. Uh-huh. And, this lady was I was like, she's just a person that's interested in falconry. This is kind of odd, you know. It's just something's kind of weird about this. Well, anyway, we go hawking, and we're doing our thing, and they are like struggling. They're sweating, they're dying, they're in their ski clothes, you know, like walking through briars in ski clothes.
You're out there in a t-shirt.
Oh yeah, exactly. And anyway, it's all going fine, whatever. And we get back to the trucks at the inn, and she's patting her pockets, and she's like, why are my pants wet? And she like sticks her hand in her pocket, and she's like, where did my crystal go? And we're like, what? And she's like, I found a crystal down in the creek. I'm like, what are you talking about? A crystal? And then like I see the guy's daughter, I see her eyes like roll out of her head almost. Like, you can tell she is not happy about the situation. And then we all figured it out. She picked up a piece of ice, like a big piece of ice out of the creek, and thought it was a crystal, and put it in her ski pants pocket.
Sneakily put it in there and didn't tell anyone.
Yeah, didn't tell anybody. Like, if you find a crystal like that, like, let me know. Like, I want to get one, you know?
Diamonds, gold, any other precious jewels that you found.
Sneaking crystals off the property.
Walking around in the woods.
Like, what else did you find, you know?
What other precious minerals and resources can you... Finder's fee. Yeah, that's your fee for me taking you hawking today. Hand it over. Yeah.
But yeah, she so anyway, I was thinking melted in her pants. She, you know, was wondering where her crystal went. Uh-huh. And man, I could hear that daughter's heart break. Man, it's just like, she's like, this is my new mom. And you know, and the husband's laughing. He thinks it's great. You know, he thinks it's hilarious.
Well,
I'm just like, man, wow. And she never expressed any interest in falconry. I had no idea
last you heard of them.
Last I heard of them, I have no idea why they came out. Like, yeah. So
we meet all types of people in all facets of life.
We do. Yeah. We do. They were nice people. They were great. Yeah. I'm not going to mention their names.
Well, no, don't do that. Don't do that.
It was Tom. No.
Yeah. Don't do that. Yeah.
I've got their address in here. If you want to.
Yeah. Well. Yeah.
I mean, very nice.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it is. Nice. It is what it is. We all have similar. I don't know about that similar.
Right.
Similar to that.
Honest mistake, man. Crystal, ice, whatever.
It's easily confused.
Who hasn't done that? Yeah. She had mittens on. She couldn't tell when she picked it up.
Right.
You know?
Right. She couldn't feel the cold.
Could have been a crystal.
Right. Yeah. Crystals can be really cold.
Yeah. Could be. It was winter.
And wet.
Right.
Yeah. Well, wow. Okay. Well, on that note, I think that's, we've already mentioned a few, I think, good, I don't know, jewels of information, you know.
Crystals, you might say.
Yeah, crystals, yeah. Oh, geez. Anyway, we've already had some good points, I think, in this episode, mainly being you get out of it what you put into it type of thing.
Definitely.
You go hunting every day, you're gonna get probably pretty good results out of your bird.
Yep.
What other thing? I mean, something I've been doing recently is asking people that I have on is what pearls of wisdom, what type of information or sentiments or anything that can be passed on to other generations or current generations or aspiring falconers that might want to get into it. I mean, what advice or any other kind of thing that you think is important should be passed on?
I don't know, David. You want to
No,
you want to pass on any
answer that.
important information to the next generation?
You both can offer up one.
I mean, I just say like having a plan that's you're able to execute. Going into it, like having the game available, picking the right bird, not being too quick to try to just do something different or rewrite the book. Like good steady game base and land access, man. Yeah. I mean, that's probably about I know it's really basic sounding. It's kind of like what everybody should know, but I mean, it works. That's what works. I see a lot of people not do it.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's amazing how many times the wheel tries to get, I guess, reinvented.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
It all comes back to kind of the same core things.
And that's fine to try at some point down the road if you want to. It's fine. But don't start off trying to do it. You know, do a recipe that works. Find a sponsor that's doing the same type of thing you want to do. Just I mean, it seems basic, but like I said, a lot of people seem not to do that. So
yeah. Well, David,
I would just say keep going through any difficulties you have, because I lost my first bird on our first hunt.
Mm-hmm.
First red tail ever trapped and trained. We took her out. First day, didn't have telemetry on her, lost her. And just
yeah, it's super easy to get discouraged. Stuff like that.
Yeah, and I was discouraged, but we just kept at it, and it's going to happen to everybody.
It is.
You're going to get discouraged in some way.
You're going to start all over at some point.
Yeah, but you can't let that stop you, and you just got to keep going.
And write letters.
And write a bunch of letters.
write letters.
Hand address some envelopes.
Yeah. Write letters and look for crystals everywhere you go.
That's right, man. That's right.
Well, it's been fun, fellas. I think this is a good time to go ahead and probably call it. We're almost right at an hour here, but I appreciate you guys having me down. And even though it was almost eventful for me today, I'm happy that you guys met your milestone, and I'm happy with, like I said, we got a huge number of slips, for my bird today. I'm appreciative of that. I'm cool with ending it on this note. Anyway, for me personally, I have been to my wit's end and back with this bird this season, and I'll just consider what small amounts of success I've achieved with her to be, I'll just be, I guess, content with that. So I appreciate you guys having me down and at least trying to help me in my season on a good note.
Anytime. Anybody wants to come down and hunt and actually fly their bird and get put on squirrels, like we're always open to it.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
we got more than enough. Yeah, just show up.
We're going every day. Just show up.
Awesome, man. Well, like I said, thanks guys. And like I said, I guess we'll I don't know, nothing else. Hang out again next season.
Yeah, sounds like a plan. I will be doing the squirrel meet again next year. So
nice.
Yeah. You're pre-invited.
Nice. Well, I appreciate it. And if you guys don't have anything else to add, we'll just go ahead and call it. So,
all right. Yeah.
Good.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, guys.